Hey y'all! Last week I described the Jacket situation with the words, something's gotta give. I went on after that to use some optimism and be sure that everything was gonna right itself. But despite my hopes, every worrying Blue Jackets point came to haunt us this week. So, let's get to the recap. Okay, so first game of the week, as I said in last video, was the Blue Jackets versus Connor McDavid and the flailing Edmonton Oilers. The Jackets lost 7-2. The Jackets didn't have a single power play goal, had 9 less shots on goal than the Oilers, and didn't score until the third period. Oh, and Jesse Puljujarvi scored 2. I mean, hey, it could have been worse. Connor McDavid could have scored a hat trick. Basically, this game was just the same issues as always, things that I'd hoped the Jackets were really working on, but alas. Kim Atkinson was back, and I guess he looked better. Still, the only line that was really producing was the first. Bjorkstrand and Johnson were able to get some goals mid-third period, but then they couldn't manage to stop Connor McDavid and Puljujarvi from scoring after that. So, also in this game, Dubinsky got in a really dumb fight at the end of the game for some reason. Like, when you're down by 5, there's no need for a fight for momentum. And he took a hook to the face, and it fractured his left orbital. So that's 6 to 8 weeks. No permanent eye damage, but, and this is the real tragedy of his injury, honestly. He's going to miss both of our PPG Arena games. He won't get to play the Penguins at their home stadium at all this season, unless we get them in the playoffs. Hopefully not. The Jackets called Jordan Schroeder up from the AHL because of this. Johnson played with Nudavara in this game, and Savard played with Harrington. Though neither pairing was particularly inspiring, it was still nice to see them mixing something up with the deep pairing, because I feel like that's been really stale since Murray got hurt. On Wednesday in practice, the Jackets had a come-to-Jesus type talk with Torts. Jenner was placed at center between Foligno and Calvert. The people were called out more, and we were back to last week's. We all know something's wrong, and we want something to stop being wrong, but also nothing's really changing a ton. Brian Hedger posted a quote from Jack Johnson on Twitter, actually, during the Hurricanes game, that Jack Johnson said that he didn't have the answer to why he and Savard were struggling, but said that they, quote, haven't tried to change anything. I don't feel like anyone should be fired or anything, but I feel like something else needs to be done. I don't know what, though. Thursday's game was against the Islanders, and the Jackets came back with a passion, winning 6-4. It was a much better game, except for when the Jackets let 3 goals in earlier in the second, then another in the third, allowing Islander Josh Bailey to get a hat trick. But more importantly, this seemed to be just the thing that Lundberg needed. He assisted on 2 of the goals and generally looked great out there, leading the puck and really controlling play, which was especially obvious after the Jackets lost 2-1 to the Hurricanes. Lundberg had the only Jackets goal of the game, a tip-in off of Atkinson, who has been playing much better since the scratch, I think. The first Hurricanes goal was an accidental own goal by Jack Johnson, and then Hannah Finn was able to get a rebound in the second and make it 2-1, but generally this game was pretty good. Games against the Hurricanes are always hard. Always goalie battles and nearly always very close. And luckily, we won't have to play them again this year, unless the Hurricanes can get some points up and push themselves in the playoff spot, which I think is pretty possible when the Metro has an 8-point gap between the top and the bottom team, in comparison to every other division, where there's an average 22-point gap between the top and bottom. Wow, sure do love being in the Metro! One big thing the Jackets have been highlighting that they didn't get in the game against the Hurricanes were rebounds. Getting in the paint and getting a second, third, fourth chance at the puck. I think that really hurt them in this game, and I think it's something they're going to have to work on a lot more. Some other Jackets news, the power play was in the 10s before, for a second, right before the Caroline game. It's now back at 9.67. The Jackets are 3rd in the Metro and 10th in the league because it's taken them one more game to get the same amount of points as the Devils. Boone's move to center was a little bit weird considering that Foligno started the season at center and you'd think they just put him back there. But Boone has been decent enough at center, especially when it comes to face-offs, which are the Jackets' real Achilles heel, I think, where he won 11 out of 18 on Saturday versus the Hurricanes. Murray update, he still has an unidentified upper body injury, but he's on the up and up. There's no word when he'll be back, but he's been practicing on ice in full gear as of late, so it's hopeful. And Sonny Milano is back. Yesterday, Schroeder and Carlson were sent back down to the Monsters, and Milano and D-man Cameron Gaunch were called up. I don't know much about Gaunch, but he has 5 assists in 20 games with the Monsters, and he has a plus-minus of 0. So I'd assume that he's not too bad, if not, a star player. And finally, the PB&J line played an average of 23 minutes on Saturday, which shows just how much Torts trusts the other 3 lines right now. This week, the Jackets play the Bruins tonight, the Maple Leafs on Wednesday, and the Flyers on Saturday. The Bruins are cruising in at 3rd in the Atlantic with less points than both of the current wildcard teams, who are both Metro teams, obviously. The Leafs are missing Austin Matthews and have been having some possession problems recently. And the Flyers are not as bad as they could be, but they will be on the second half of a back-to-back when they see us in Nationwide on Saturday. Generally, the Jackets have a lot of problems. They're all exposed right now, I think, like little nerves. But a lot of them have been hit in the last 2 weeks. And I think that everyone's really trying to fix them. And trying, obviously, is not good enough, etc., etc. But I think maybe it's being overthought a little bit, and that's causing some issues. But I have faith that we'll be able to pull through. The Metro's a hard division to be in, and even with these problems, we've been able to hold our own. And, hey, if nothing else can cheer you up as a Jackets fan this week, then at least know that currently the Penguins are not in a playoff spot. How great is that? But that is it for this week. Hit that like if you liked this. Click subscribe if you loved it. I'm Lydia. This is Cannon Fire. And the Jackets are going to get better.